Okay guys, thought I would do this video and just talk a little bit about the new PoE League. As you know, PoE is one of the games that I frequently post on my channel and stream, so if you hop in, I'll probably be playing this or StarCraft or something. And basically, the league is a town-based building kind of game, for want of a better word. You farm juice from these areas. Think of them as kind of like popping open a breach, but they're just in the map. You farm the monsters, get sort of gold, juice, and you begin to sort of level up your town, build your town, and as a result then you can hire different merchants that can do different things. You can recombinate items again. And you can hire these merchants to go and run maps for you. So you can be going and running one map whilst your merchants are running other maps. You can go and send them off to fight for a shipment and they can come back with a load of loot. And the main thing about this game change is in the patch notes itself. So as well as having quite a large expansive league, which looks like, you know, you'll be bringing in some settlers and making a big town, you've also got the ability to respec with gold and the currency exchange market. So for the longest time, as long as I've played the game, one of the things that becomes a little bit annoying is just dealing with trade. It's easy to work around if you spend a little bit more, and I've played the game long enough to know how to navigate the trade website, but sometimes there are just some niche cases that become super obnoxious to do, obnoxious to buy, nobody's responding, and it can just take half an hour out of your day of playtime. It can just take 20 minutes of annoyance, and it can really kill the vibe. So what they've done here is the ability to just buy the currency for the price that you're listing at, and the trade will just happen as long as if you're both online. So let's say you found your base of your ring and you want to buy 4 catalysts to get it to 20%. Now, normally, you'd have to go and find somebody that's selling 4 or message 4 individual people selling 1. Then you'll have to like figure out what the actual rate is and and it might take you half an hour. And then you think, I can't even be bothered to craft it. This, you can just go to the fragment section and buy what you need, buy the catalysts that you need, buy the chromes that you need, as obviously as long as if they are listed in the stock. So if you just happen to think, oh, I've struggled here and I need 50 chromes, you can buy 50 chromes without having to worry about, you know, the ratios or what's going on. And I just think this will remove so much irritants for so many players that it is genuinely enough for me to come back just to try and see how it works. Because yeah, sometimes I do want to annul an item, but it's so irritating to buy 1 annul that I might go and buy 10 or 20, and then I don't really want to do that, and then I have to farm some more to make the money back or whatever it may be, right? It's tedious, but this system should solve that issue. You can set your price, you can place your order, and they've also added some new, changed some ascendancies, and the gameplay has been reworked. So you've got health bars on screen for major bosses, and melee has been hugely rebalanced, as you can see on screen, as well as end game improvements like tier 17's been nerfed because they weren't a gap, as well as a whole host of other stuff. So for me, it's enough to come back, and because I haven't posted in a while or played the game, I figured I'd make a video and share it. The patch notes itself, I think, are well over 30,000 words. And if you want to do a scroll, yeah, there's a lot here. You know, we talk about, say, the old game, Gears 5, getting like 1 or 2 lines. This is just a patch note for a game, whilst they're also building PoE 2. So again, the melee improvements are, to cut it short, because we won't do this all day, effectively you used to have the totem. You'd have to put the totem down, you'd stand next to your totem, then you get buffed up, the totem would start hitting, you'd start hitting. Now they've kind of buffed up all the melee skills and got rid of totems, so you don't need the totem anymore. So there's that whole play style of put the totem down, stand next to the totem, my totem's dead, replace the totem, it's all gone, which is great. Banners are now, they don't do anything whilst you're carrying them, so you don't have to permanently carry one, and if you're not carrying one, you don't feel like you're missing out, but they do more when you place them. and they are stronger. So there's a whole host of stuff here. There's the way the rage has been reworked. Tinctures have been added to the core game. There's some retaliation skills, which is kind of like, imagine it like Call of Steel. You call something back or you do something, then you can rain down a big load of attacks. Little things like Delirium. The first 15 waves of the Simulacrum have been removed, which just makes it nice. Obviously, you've got passive tree change, and a big one. They've basically removed item quantity from the game completely. It's gone. So I know a lot of you liked magic finding, but it did just get silly. And so it's gone. And it's all now about rarity. And so all your stuff in standard is going to be crazy expensive if you care about that stuff, I suppose. Maybe some people will pull out some race rewards and then break the game. Who knows? But yeah, the quantity has gone. And I think that's decent, just because sometimes you just felt a bit silly not running quantity. So that's nice. Obviously, you've got like skill gem changes, val changes, ascendancy changes. There's a ton of stuff here. Div card changes. So it's there's a lot going on, and I think it's worth having a dive back in purely for me, purely just for that. Currency market, just to see how it affects the game, really. Will anybody break it, abuse it? I don't know, who knows, but I think it'll be nice. The champion gladiator, the gladiator, I think got changed, so it's now like a bleed build. And the key thing here is, if anybody ever played bleed builds, you would kind of have to ensnare them, then they'd count as moving, then they'd take more damage. That's gone now, and now your bleeds just have a chance to aggravate, which is basically the same thing. So now you have that irritating snipe play style is gone. There's just a lot of changes to the game that seem solid. It seems like they've really tried to remove some of the friction, some of the annoyance out of the game, and just make you have a little bit more option. So if you go to the skill changes, just to give you an example here, there's a ton here you can see, right? But basically they all kind of look like this. So rather than gaining flat damage per level on most of the skills, the melee skills, that's kind of how they worked. You'd get a little bit of flat damage at each level to help you level up, but the scaling wasn't so great. Now the effective added damage is a lot larger. So if we look at, say, Sunder, for example, right? Okay, it no longer has any base damage or whatever you call it, but the scaling was 250%. So, any fizz damage, 250% scaling. Now 503, right? So there's going to be a lot more damage. Sweep scaling 664% at level 20, previously 281%, just to give you an idea. Now, it's not to say that they're going to be incredibly broken and one-shot and everything. We don't know. I've not tested them. I've not done POB or anything like that. But there's buffs. And if you're a melee player, you're going to feel less silly for playing melee. You're going to feel less silly for not running quant and running a bow, or just playing like a really obvious skill build. Like, the skills have also been nerfed themselves, meaning they're slightly weaker. There was just an imbalance that was going on, and you just felt a bit daft playing melee. So hopefully this will fix it a little bit. The bandit reward got changed, so you can either take one passive from the bandit and then another from I think it's the Helena quest or whatever it is, the Golden Hand. Or you can take one. You can get a bandit buff and then get a passive point. So even the bandits have been changed a little bit, so there's a bit more choice there. Personally, I'll probably just go for the move speed and a passive point. That seems decent. I think it's like 8% move speed and a passive point. I'll take that. And it seems decent. It seems decent, doesn't it? It seems like they've thought about it. and the league mechanic itself is just going to bring in currency, and you can have your minions kind of run it for you, the guys you hire. You can also totally skip it, obviously, which is nice because, you know, not everyone always wants to play the league mechanic. You know, sometimes you don't mind dipping into it a little bit, but you might want to avoid it. And so, yeah, you can kill the extra monsters in the maps, but you could just avoid the whole thing if you wanted. Now, I don't think you should because there's some there's some crafting in there and things like that. But you know, the last few leagues have been kind of forced on you, pushed on you, and one of the main reasons I'm going to come back and give it a go is last league, the tier 17s were too difficult to do anything that wasn't a top tier build, and the way you then got to Ubers was you had to farm tier 17s. So tier 17s were very, very difficult, and as a result, I just didn't kill any Ubers. I could have sat there forever and done it, obviously, but I decided just to leave the league because it just wasn't something I enjoyed. First time I've not really played a league at all. I didn't enjoy it. So, you know, there's some changes here, which is, you know, you can sit and read through them all day. For example, you know, a regular duel can now roll max cold and fire res. So you could have +1 fire res, have 6 duels, and have +6 fire res on a duel. You know, there's lots of little things that can change how a build works. Eldritch implicit modifiers for body armors have been added that grant fizz taken as fire, cold, and lightning. So you could have max fire res, and then you could have the craft fizz taken as fire crafted on it, and then the implicit. So it could get pretty crazy. There is some changes to skills. One thing I'm considering starting, to be honest, nobody's talked about it from what I've looked at, is Power Siphon. I don't know. I just kind of want to play a Power Siphon build. I might have to have a look into it and see if it's totally dead, because it's very difficult to start a Wonder without any large amount of currency if anybody's played this game. We'll see, though. Maybe I'll play melee. Who knows? Maybe I'll play a slam build. We'll see. But I just thought I just thought I would run you through the league. You know, if for some reason you've missed it and you follow my channel, you know. But it's kind of teased a boat league, but the way the boat league works is you're going to build up currency, hire members to work for you, and go and send them off to go and do shipments. And shipments, once they've successfully completed them, they'll either die, you might have to rank them up, you might send them on too difficult of a mission, they might not come back. But if they do come back, they'll be bringing you loot, and whilst you're inside of your map, you'll get a notification that says your loot's here. So you can be mapping away while someone else is earning a bit of currency for you. You know, so it seems quite fun. I'm looking forward to it.